Greetings, dear friends. Your invaluable support is our strength. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. This greatly helps the growth of our channel. Leave your comments. Your feedback is very valuable to us. And now, to the most important and current world events. Let's go.
Spring fires are raging in the central and northern regions of Mexico. Fire outbreaks have been recorded in the territory of El Teposteco National Park. About 39,000 hectares are currently engulfed in flames. Aviation has been involved in firefighting efforts, and volunteers are also helping. High temperatures are hindering rescuers from bringing the situation under control. According to authorities, the fires were caused by drought. There was almost no rain in Mexico during the winter, and February became the hottest month in the last 70 years. On RBC, the main news, in the studio with Nikita Gimiza. About 10 drones were detected and destroyed in one of the districts of the Voronezh region. This was reported by Governor Alexander Gusev. Preliminarily, there were no casualties or damage. Emergency services are working at the site of the debris fall. In addition, the threat of a drone attack was announced in the Tula and Lipetsk regions. State Duma deputies have prepared a bill that prohibits bank commissions for government-supported mortgage loans. According to the document, it cannot be charged either from the bank's client or the developer. This will ensure transparency of conditions, eliminate hidden surcharges, and create equal conditions for all participants, the deputies clarify in the explanatory note. Currently, the size of such commissions can reach 16% of the loan amount. This significantly increases the final cost of housing and creates additional financial barriers for citizens. The authors of the initiative believe. The day before, Vladimir Putin drew attention to the problem during a meeting of the State Council Presidium dedicated to infrastructure development issues. He instructed the government and the Bank of Russia to address the problem and put things in order. He noted that more than 2,000 construction projects are being implemented with a delay in completion of at least 6 months. The launch of new projects in 2025 has fallen by 23% year-on-year. Developers' debts are increasing. This could lead to bankruptcy and a reduction in employment. The reason is excessively expensive loans, stated the president. And according to the rating agency Expert Dare, the issuance of mortgage loans in Russia could decrease by a third due to the high interest rate and for the small amount of state support. This year, compared to last year's figures, moreover, the share of mortgage payments made ahead of schedule may drop to 2%, analysts note. Against this backdrop, the number of problematic loans will increase. The agency explained that bank clients are placing their money in high interest deposits instead of early repayment. I remind you, at the end of the year, they reached almost 22.5%. At that time, the debt of Russians on ruble loans amounted to just over 20 trillion rubles. The portfolio of such loans will increase by a modest 5% this year, according to Expert RA. The US will offer its trading partners a reduction in tariffs in exchange for measures to isolate China. This is reported by the Wall Street Journal. According to the publication's sources, American representatives are negotiating with more than 70 countries, aiming to achieve a ban on the supply of Chinese goods through the territory of third countries, and to convince them not to host companies from the PRC, which could thus avoid the high American tariffs imposed by Trump. The exact requirements can vary significantly depending on each specific country and the degree of its involvement in the Chinese economy. These measures are intended to undermine, quote, the already shaky Chinese economy, and also to force Beijing to come to the negotiating table. With the USA, the publication reports. Donald Trump himself believes that in the trade dispute with China, the ball is in Beijing's court. This was stated by White House Press Secretary Caroline Lieber.
The president has made his position on China quite clear. The president has clearly stated his position regarding China, although I have an additional statement that he just shared with me in the Oval Office. The ball is in China's court. They need to make a deal with us, not us with them. There is no difference between China and any other country, except that they are much bigger. China wants what we have, what every country wants, which is the American consumer, or, in other words, American money. Therefore, the president has made it clear that he is open to a deal with Beijing, and China needs to make an agreement with the USA.
Trump's new tariffs on foreign products could cost American semiconductor manufacturers more than $1 billion a year, reports Reuters. The largest equipment manufacturers, such as Applied Materials, Lam Research, and KLA, could each incur losses of about $350 million a year. The Trump administration, I remind you, states that the tariffs are aimed at developing domestic technological production in the USA. NVIDIA fears it could lose about $5.5 billion following the ban on exporting chips to China. Bloomberg reports this. The U.S. administration states that without a special license, it will no longer be able to supply chips for artificial intelligence technologies to China. The new requirement was explained by the fact that this product could be used in a supercomputer, although NVIDIA initially made the export model of the chips less powerful. Hong Kong Post is suspending parcel shipments to the U.S. amid the U.S. trade war. A statement on the Postal Service's website says that Washington is acting unreasonably, resorting to intimidation and abusing tariffs. The acceptance of shipments for land and sea delivery is halted from the 16th and by air from the 27th of April. However, documents will continue to be sent. Joe Biden condemned the Trump administration's policy for cuts in Social Security. This is the first public speech by the former U.S. leader after leaving the presidential office.
Why are these guys taking the name in Social Security? Why are these guys targeting the Social Security system? They are following the old line. Act fast, break things. Their motto. That's what they do, demo. First they shoot, then they aim. In less than 100 days, the new administration has caused so much harm and destruction. The speed is breathtaking. They struck the Social Security Administration, removing 7,000 employees, including the most experienced officials, and intend to cut thousands more. We are already seeing the consequences.
Biden spoke for about half an hour, during which he did not mention Trump's name even once. Many Democrats are convinced that Biden should refrain from public appearances as he is considered a burden for the party, reports CNN. According to their information, the former president hardly communicates with his former team and supporters. An aerial bomb exploded in one of the settlements in southern Israel, near the border with the Gaza Strip and Egypt. The projectile fell from an IDF military aircraft. The cause of the incident was cited as a technical malfunction. There were no casualties or damage. The Israel Defense Forces have launched an investigation. The incident occurred during an attack on the Gaza Strip. The military did not specify which targets the fighter jet was aiming for. IDF units took control of a third of the Gaza Strip after the ceasefire ended, writes the Wall Street Journal. The military resumed the offensive in mid-March. According to the publication's sources, the Israeli army plans to expand security zones. The day before, the country's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived in the northern part of the enclave, held a meeting with the military, and emphasized that his country will not stop until key objectives are achieved.
I am here with the Minister of Defense, with IDF commanders and our soldiers and reservists. They are doing an amazing job in the Gaza Strip. They are attacking the enemy, Hamas. It will continue to receive more and more strikes. We insist that the militants release our hostages, and we will achieve all military objectives.
The Israeli army also attacked Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. According to the IDF, militant infrastructure was hit. The attack was carried out the previous evening. The military emphasizes that they will continue to put pressure on the Lebanese movement to prevent Hezbollah from restoring or creating new weapons production under the guise of civilian infrastructure. The U.S. will begin a phased withdrawal of troops from Syria within 2 months. This is reported by the Israeli portal Ynet. According to the report, representatives of the American security services informed the leadership of Israel, which had previously tried to persuade Washington to maintain a military presence in the Arab country. In response to a request from the RIA Novosti agency, the Pentagon stated that the U.S. regularly redistributes forces based on needs. In December, American authorities stated that there are about 2,000 U.S. military personnel in Syria. The bases are mainly located in the north and northeast of the country, in Kurdish regions. One of them, Al-Tanf, is in the southeast near the border with Iraq and Jordan. 2 miners were rescued in the Satkinskaya mine in the Rostov region after a rock collapse. The workers were trapped in the tunnel. Both miners are in satisfactory condition. They are being on the surface have already been sent home. A rock collapse in the mine occurred the previous morning. The investigative committee has initiated the case regarding the violation of industrial safety requirements. The Satkinskaya mine was opened in 2004. It is the largest coal enterprise in the Rostov region. The AN-24 aircraft of Polar Airlines successfully landed in Yakutsk with only 1 engine operating. This was reported by the airline. Social media is publishing footage of the successful landing. It is known that the plane took off from the village of Zyryanka, and as it began to approach the landing site, An oil pressure drop sensor was triggered in one of the engines. The prosecutor's office has organized an investigation into the compliance with flight safety legislation. We will continue to monitor the events. Stay tuned to RBC.